Morning. I guess I'm from the metropolis of the group, Williamsport. Don't say that too often. I could spend 10 minutes on how the name Fish Lips came about, but I'll spare you those details. I assure you it's a good story. I was asked to come and speak about the commercial development due to the Marcellus activity. We also own a real estate company too, so I'm seeing similar issues that my colleagues here are as well. I think for some, majority of the drilling that and the permitting is occurring in their markets, which are more rural than the Williamsport area. So we're, I think because of that and because of the few more amenities and infrastructure that we have in Williamsport, we're seeing more of the overall industrial and commercial development in our area. And our area would still service and feed the drilling that's going on, which is up into the northeast of us. We were also benefited, I think, from our neighbors to the north in New York State who did nothing but promote an unfriendly atmosphere from the get-go of this. And we're dealing with many companies that had, at one point in time, looked in New York and simply refused to go up there. And I truly believe they've suffered from that. But I think in Williamsport, Lycoming County, we've it's been since maybe 2006, 2007, we've seen an initial rush of what they call landmen, which immediately filled up all of our hotels. We had maybe a dozen of the flag hotel brands in Lycoming County, and they were all at 90 to 100% occupancy, and they continue to be that way. We've built 2 new hotels, a new Marriott in our downtown, a couple new hotels out to the east of town. There's currently 2 more under land development, another one downtown, and another one to the east of town in Lowestoft Township. So we're, as far as what we're seeing, it's, I would say initially it was the need for hotel space. At about the same time, we kept seeing a lot of requests for industrial buildings, shop space, what they call shop space, yard areas as they refer to it, which is nothing more than either paved or compacted area that they can store equipment on, or trucks, that type of thing. Williamsport, as many people may not realize, had a pretty diverse economic base, and thereby we had a lot of inventory of industrial buildings, industrial zoning, and a lot of that got eaten up immediately. Any buildings that had at-grade loading doors were immediately leased or purchased by a lot of the companies coming in. What's been really nice to see, I think, is the reuse that we've seen. We had a lot of old manufacturing in the area, just like a lot of areas in Pennsylvania. And specifically, we've seen 2 old manufacturing buildings have been completely renovated and leased to the oil and gas companies. We had an old Sylvania plant at one time in Montoursville that was literally rotting away, and a local developer bought it and completely renovated it and has it leased to 2 or 3 different oil and gas companies. That's wonderful to see. Another facility right next to it that was an old furniture manufacturing plant has been also totally renovated and leased to different oil and gas companies. As Kim mentioned, through the demand that we saw coming into our brokerage office, there wasn't enough supply out there after a while. And as good brokers, we would go to local developers, to our chamber, whatnot, and say, we need these buildings. We're going to secure a lot more jobs for the area if we have some more buildings like this. And we told and begged a lot of different people to start building some things. And understandably so, there was some nervousness, who's going to believe a real estate broker, right? Telling them these things. But we took it upon ourselves at the time to form a partnership with our local chamber of commerce and with another developer in the area who had a little more means than Fish Real Estate did to put together an industrial development. And it's a 250 acre piece of property in Muncie that has immediately taken off. We're going to be out of land probably within the next 12 months. And are looking at opportunities next door to us at this time. But that development has fed our different businesses too. And so it's been a wonderful thing in that regard. The companies that have moved into the park have people moving into the area that need housing. And who they go to. So it's been a different avenue for me personally, but I think one that is certainly helping secure a lot of jobs in the area, a lot of new growth. As my associates mentioned too, I mean, we have some needs for housing. Being that we had a little more maybe available housing stock to begin with, I don't know that we're seeing the our overall available housing stock deplete as much as these guys are. We have seen our rental market has had the same effects as theirs. We're also seeing, the mid to lower income families that have rentals that are having some issues right now finding rentals. And that's something that I know is on the minds of a lot of our state legislators and whatnot in our area. We're starting to see some new apartment development. We had 2 or 3 large apartment communities, and we're starting to see a few more pop up now. That's not something I'm personally involved with, but it's nice to see. There's definitely a need for that. We've also seen, which has been, I think wonderful to see in our downtown area, a lot of reuse development, old historic buildings that have been totally restored and converted into some like loft style apartments. I mean, something I would never have thought I'd seen in Williamsport. I mean, just neat old historic buildings that exposed brick and things like that. They're renting on a weekly, monthly, yearly basis. It sort of some ways competes with the hotels. Hotels offer long-term stays that might cost $2,000 to $3,000, and this is a little better option because everything is like a hotel, all inclusive. We still see a need for that. I believe the developer from this area, I'm not sure who it is, but has just purchased a large piece of property in our downtown. It's going to actually be condos, some apartments, some condos with some parking, things like that. Our downtown has really, in the last 2-3 years, has really turned around. Talk about the reuse and what our needs are. What challenges I think we're seeing are we actually have welcomed outside developers to come in the area and do different projects, but there's been a hesitancy to do that. Like I said, we're starting to see a little bit of it now, but we've probably had every developer we can think of in the area has toured around and looked at different opportunities. They're just reluctant, I think, due to what they feel is the uncertainty of the industry. But more so than that, the financial world we're dealing with outside of our little bubble in Lycoming County, it's tough getting commercial financing right now. you can get it, but you better be prepared